You're with Julian on the Brown Notes and a review of another really big major film, Late Night with the Devil. Colin and Cameron Cairne are the brothers who wrote and directed it, and I can't find much else out about them. So I assumed that it could be their debut, but normally they would say that it's their debut film. But also mainly noticeable for David Dastmalchian, who is an actor that's appeared in a lot of films as a small character, but a hugely memorable one. As soon as you see his face, you recognise him from the scene in the Christopher Nolan Batman film where Batman tries to torture him. Oh, sorry, Two-Face tries to torture him, and Batman arrives and said he's a paranoid schizophrenic supporter of the Joker, and he's one of the adult victims in the film Prisoners. He's been in so many films, Ant-Man, Suicide Squad, but never really had a prominent lead role as this one. Great setup, so imaginative and filmed very much in this style. He plays a character that is a talk show host called Jack Delroy, who's up against whoever the king of... Who's the king of all chat shows? Johnny Carson. He's up against the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. So he becomes this like young pretender to the throne, but he can never get past Johnny Carson. He's married to a woman that dies from lung cancer and sort of like leaves TV for a little bit and then comes back. But he can never sort of get the ratings going. And they try more and more controversial things on his midnight show, the late... What's it called? Night Owls is his show. So he has a Halloween special, and he brings on people like psychics and mediums to connect with the other world. He brings on the skeptic, played very, very well by Ian Bliss, called Carmichael Haig, he's a magician turned skeptic who's there to debunk them. The whole setup, like, it's a montage through the opening sort of couple of years of his show, and then his wife dying and so on, to take us up to sort of like 1978. Is very well done as a montage and scene setter. And then the rest of the film is like real time of what happened on that show that night, which is shows you not only the stuff on screen, but the cutaways to the production staff and the people behind the scenes and the audience and everyone else involved in this project. So you get like the live on air stuff and all of him talking to the producers about what's going on and the reception from the public. The first one he has on, played by Faisal Bazi, is a psychic called Christou, who makes a fool of himself and looks like a fraud, and then does much, much better with, mind reading people in the audience, and is there someone called Brian? And doing all of this, but he does it much better the second time around. After that, he seems to get possessed on screen and vomits up this black tar substance, and it all goes to hell in a handbasket. So from that point on, we get Laura Gordon, and an actress that doesn't even have a Wikipedia entry, Ingrid Torelli. So Laura Gordon is a parapsychologist that's been looking after this girl that's a sole survivor, a 10-year-old girl that's the sole survivor of this demonic cult. And everyone else has died in an FBI raid. Quite a few like sort of telling motifs around stuff like Waco and so on throughout this film. She survives and is completely doolally, obviously, as you would be. And they basically stupidly decide to... So she keeps saying that she's being possessed by this demon. And they stupidly try and bring this demon to have a chat on the talk show, and everything goes to hell. Virtually, literally. It's got a lot of good reviews, and why it absolutely deserves them. In fact, it probably deserves slightly higher reviews than it's got. I thought it was done brilliantly. It's great to see David Dastmalchian in a lead role like this. He's absolutely awards worthy. He handles every nuance of the character so well. Even the way he's got his hand in his pocket, the production design of these 70s Letterman style shows is exemplary. They like do not miss a beat. I don't agree that it's satire. Like, the two common misconceptions I have about this is people calling it satire. It is funny often, but I didn't find anything satirical. More of a homage or a pastiche, if anything, because they nail everything quite straight. Even the side characters and the producers and everything. There's not really. I didn't get the impression that the characters were heightened in any way. They seemed to be fairly accurate representations, and everything that was happening seemed to be a fairly accurate representation. I guess there's three misconceptions. One is I don't think it's a satire. Two, a lot of people are saying, oh, it's really good, but it's not a horror. Why have they marketed it as a horror? It is a horror. It's as much of a horror as you can get. I don't know where you're getting this from. It's a throwback, if anything, to 70s horrors. Omen-esque 70s horrors. Probably more accurately would be Scanners style horrors. And the last thing is a few of the critics saying that the end is the weakest part, or it does, absolute rubbish. So most of the film does take place in this very accurate depiction of reality, where, you know, the supernatural elements aren't necessarily true, or it's shot like a normal Letterman style show, and so on. The last quarter or the last third, it goes absolutely apeshit crazy, which I love. I mean, I want that. I want a film that goes batshit crazy. That's like this, to have that final quarter where everything goes completely nuts and they just throw everything at the screen. And it looks visually very, very arresting as well. So I thought this was a fantastic film. I really did. I mean, it might be slightly limited in some ways, with probably a tiny production budget, but I couldn't really fault virtually anything about it. I thought it was really, really well done, really imaginative and original. And I loved the whole setup. I love the accuracy of the production design is immaculate. And then it really, like, part of the story is that he's connected to an organisation like the Freemasons, and that gradually rises up in importance throughout the story. So great job, great writing, great filming, looks and sounded great. Every actor was completely on point. I'm going to give Late Night with the Devil an 8.5 out of 10.